and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new Snowflake Background hot foil plate. We're also going to be introducing Winter Big Scripty Words hot foil plate. And the cool thing about the Winter Big Scripty Words hot foil plate is that it coordinates with the previously released Winter Big Scripty Words coordinating die. We're also going to be introducing our Snowflake Duo hot foil plate. So let's go ahead and check these out. In this video today, we're going to talk about some hot foiling basics and how to kind of incorporate hot foil onto your cards. So here are the hot foil plates, and you'll see they have this cool gold look to them that lets you know it's a hot foil plate versus a die. And then here is a hot foiling machine. This is the Spellbinders Glimmer machine. There are other machines out on the market. They are all great. This is the one that I happen to have, so I'm going to use that in the video today. I'm going to take the platform and I'm going to lock that into the base of the Glimmer machine, and then I'm going to plug it in. So it comes with the plug, and you'll just plug it into the wall. Once you plug it into the wall and turn it on, you'll see that a red power light is going to light up, and that's how you know it's on and starting to work. Once you see that red power light, you just have to wait a few minutes for the platform ready light to turn on. And when that turns on, it's going to be green. So I'm going to have the power light there, and I'm waiting for the platform ready light to come. Now, while I wait, I'm going to get some of my hot foil items ready. So I have my Snowflake Duo Snowflake there, and then I'm going to take out some gold foil, and I'm just going to cut down a small piece that's going to be about the size of my snowflake using my scissors. And the machine actually came with this gold foil, which is really great. I love that the machine has everything that you need in it to be able to hot foil. Our next step is to wait for that green platform ready light to light up, and there it is. So we are good now. We've got that green light. We are good to go. So we're going to take that hot foil plate and we're going to drop that onto that hot surface, and it's going to be face up. Then we're going to press the timer button. So that's that bottom button there. We'll press that, and when you press that, that green light is going to flash. About a minute is going to go by. I just fast forwarded that part, and the light is going to go solid, and that's how you know you're ready to hot foil. So now that we have a solid green light there, we're going to take our foil and we're going to place that face down onto our hot foil plate, just like that. Then we're going to take our cardstock and we're going to place that down. And then we're going to use these two spacer and shim pads that come with the Glimmer machine. One is clear and one is green. They're the two that come with it, and those are the two that you're going to use. So right there, the clear one and the green one. Then you're going to pop the whole platform off of the base, and you're going to run it through your die cut machine, just like that. And so what's really cool is you're going to run it through just like normal, right? You're going to turn the crank, and the whole thing is going to kind of move through the machine, and that's going to be pressing that foil into your cardstock. Once it rolls all of the way through the machine, you can take out the platform. I'm just going to take my die cut machine and move it aside. And now we can remove those plastic shim pieces. So we're going to move those over to the side. We can take off our cardstock, which that foil is now stuck to. And then I'm going to take the platform and put it back in the base so that I can heat it up to do more hot foiling. The Glimmer machine comes with this cool little magnetic handle thing, which helps you pick up your hot foil plate, and then you can put it on this little mat that the machine comes with as well so that that hot plate can cool off. And now we've come to the best part. We're going to peel up that foil and look at that snowflake. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Oh my gosh, the first time I did this, it was just amazing. And every time I do it after, I'm just still amazed. It's just so cool and so much fun. So now we're going to go through this whole process again, just to kind of keep learning how to use this hot foiling machine and hot foil plates. So we had that green platform ready light, and we're going to drop our hot foil plate on there. We're going to press the timer button, and the timer button is going to flash, and we're going to wait till it turns solid green. Now that it's solid green, we can take our foil, this time I'm using silver, and I'm going to put that face down onto the hot foil plate. This time I'm using a color of cardstock. This is peacock cardstock, and we're going to lay that on top too. We're going to take the spacer plate and the shim, which is the clear and the green plates. We're going to place those on top, and then we're going to take the platform out of the base and we're going to run it through our die cut machine. Then we can remove the spacer and shim plates. We're going to take that cardstock off, which has the foil stuck to it. And then I'm actually going to take the platform and put it back in the base so that it can heat up so I can do more hot foil. And I'm going to take off that hot foil plate and put it aside to cool. Now, the best part, we're going to peel up that foil and you're going to see this beautiful silver foil snowflake on the peacock cardstock. And I love that you can foil on different colors of cardstock. You can foil on pattern paper and you can foil on white cardstock too. So there's a lot of options. Now, sometimes there is a little bit of overfoiling and it might be the pressure in your machine or something shifts just a little bit. The cool thing is a sand eraser takes it off really easily. You can see that I was just making tiny little motions with my sand eraser. It took that extra foil off. And now we are ready to do some die cutting. So I'm going to take a stitch circle die that's about the size of the snowflake, and we're going to line that up and we'll run that through the die cut machine. And now we're going to have this beautiful stitch circle with the beautiful foiled snowflake in the center. Now we're going to create a really simple card with this stitch circle with the snowflake on it. And to do that, we're going to use one of the Winter Big Scripty Words hot foil plates. So once again, we waited for the platform ready green light. We put on our hot foil plate. We press the timer button. It's going to flash. While it's flashing, I always like to get my foil ready, my cardstock, etc. That light is going to get a solid green after about a minute. We're going to lay the foil face down. We're going to put our piece of cardstock on top, and then we can add our spacer plates and shims. And then you can pop that platform off the base and we're going to run it through the die cut machine, imprinting that foil into our cardstock. Now we can remove those shims and spacer pads, remove our paper. I'm going to peel up that foil and check that out. And this was a rainbow foil. So Spellbinders has a lot of different foils that you can purchase with really pretty colors, and the rainbow one, oh my gosh, I just loved it. So you may remember the original Winter Big Scripty Words stamp set. It's from a few years back. It has a coordinating die. Well, that coordinating die also works with the Winter Big Scripty Words hot foil plate. So I love that the die can be used for both things. So we're going to take that coordinating die and we're going to line it up with the Let It Snow phrase. And what I love about this now is we're going to have this beautifully die cut phrase that's also going to have the hot foil. And then that hot foil also has that beautiful rainbow look to it. And I just cannot get over how gorgeous this is. Now that we have these beautifully foiled die cut elements, I had to make a card with them, right? And I wanted to make something just quick and simple and beautiful. So we're going to take out some pretty pattern paper. And this is the brand new Nitpicky Winter paper. And there's this really pretty turquoisey colored paper. Then I'm going to go ahead and take out the largest stitched rectangle die, which is 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to die cut this piece with that. And I like having the little stitched edge. It's a simple card, so it's nice to add a little extra something. Next, I'm going to take out some pixie dust sparkle cardstock, and we're going to trim that down to be 1.25 inches tall by 5.5 inches wide. And then we can layer all of these pieces together. First, I'll add some tape runner to the back of the sparkle cardstock, and then for some reason, way too many foam squares on the back of the snowflake. I probably didn't need that many, but it'll be nice and secure now. And then I'm going to layer that snowflake right across that band of sparkle cardstock. Then the last step is to add some adhesive to the back of our Let It Snow word and then just add it to the bottom. And this card is simple, easy to create, but so gorgeous with that foil. Oh my goodness, I just love it. So we're going to layer that onto a standard size card base, 5.5 by 4.25, and then it's all done and just so pretty and such a fun way to incorporate hot foiling onto a card. Next, I wanted to talk about another very simple way to incorporate hot foiling onto cards, and that's by just using a sentiment. So we're going to take that same Let It Snow sentiment. We waited for the platform ready light to turn green. We pressed the timer button and it was flashing, and now it's solid, so we're ready to add our foil over top face down and our piece of cardstock. Then we're going to take the thin shim and the spacer pad and we're going to put those on top, and then we're going to remove the platform from the base and then run it through the die cut machine. And by doing that, that's going to press that foil into your cardstock. And then now, of course, always my favorite part, we're going to peel up the foil and we have this beautiful sentiment that I just love. Then we're going to die cut it with the coordinating die, and we're going to have this great sentiment that could be added to any card, one with die cut elements, one with stamps, with a whole scene, anything that you can think of. So I happen to have a card that I was working on with the brand new build-a-snowman dies. It's got a fun little stenciled background and this cute little snowman. It needed a sentiment, and this was a great way to add some hot foil to a card in a really simple way by just using a beautiful sentiment. And look at what it adds to the card. It makes the card just so special and so pretty, and I can't wait to do this with a lot of my card designs. It's just the best way to add a sentiment. Now we're going to take a look at the Snowflake Background hot foil plate. So we're going to use this in the same exact way. We're going to have our green platform ready light. So now we can put our hot foil plate on, and now we have this big beautiful background. Then once that's on there, we can press the timer button and we're going to wait for that green light to stop flashing. And here you can see I have prepped some of this beautiful foil. We're going to cut it down to be about the size of the hot foil plate, and I've got some white cardstock too. The light is flashing, and once it turns solid green, like it just did right then, we're ready to hot foil. So we're going to take the foil and we're going to place it face down onto this background, and then we're going to take this nice big piece of cardstock and put that over top as well. Then we can take the shim and spacer pads that are included with the machine. We're going to put those on top. We can remove the platform from the base, and then we're going to run that through the die cut machine, pressing the foil into our cardstock. Then we can remove the two plates on top. We can take that cardstock off, which has the foil pressed into it, and then we're going to peel up the foil, my favorite part. Look how beautiful this background is. Now we can cut this background in a couple of different ways. And what we're going to do this time is we're going to die cut it with one of our stitched rectangle dies. So this is a really great way to cut it down. The other way would be to just use your paper trimmer, and we're going to do that just a little bit later. But I thought that stitched edge would be really pretty with this hot foil. So we're going to run that through the die cut machine, and now you can see how beautiful that is. It cuts the whole background and you have that really nice finished stitched edge. Now, I love the look of foil on white cardstock or different colors of cardstock, but I thought, well, what would it look like on an ink blended background? And it's so cool. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we're just going to ink blend a quick background with two colors, peacock feathers and then chip sapphire. And the peacock feathers, the brighter color is in the center and then the darker color on the outside. And we're going to go back and forth between the two of them to blend them into this really pretty wintry night sky. And once this whole thing is ink blended, I'm going to make sure to set this piece of paper aside and let it dry and make sure it's nice and dry before we start to hot foil. But that is the next thing that we're going to do. So we're going to be using that same snowflake background. So our platform ready green light is on, so we can add our hot foil plate to the platform. Once that's on there, we can press the timer button and that light is going to flash. It's going to take about a minute, and once it's all done, it's going to be nice and solid. Now here I've taken some silver foil. I'm going to flip that over face down over the background, and then I'm going to take this beautiful ink blended piece and I'm going to put that over top. Then just like before, we're going to take the spacer pad and thin shim, so the green one and the clear one, we're going to put those on top. We'll remove this platform from the base, and then we can put it through the die cut machine, imprinting the foil into our ink blended background. Then we get to the big reveal, my favorite part. We're going to peel up that foil, and isn't this so pretty? I just can't wait to make about 1,000,000 of these backgrounds. Now, what I like to do with these backgrounds is I always use a piece of paper that's bigger than the 5.5 by 4.25. That way I don't have to worry about exactly where my hot foil plate is ending up. I can just trim it down. So in this case, I'm just going to use my paper trimmer to trim it down to the 5.5 by 4.25. But you can also use a stitched rectangle die or even a circle die or any shape that you want to use to cut this background down. And I think that's the easiest way to be able to hot foil but not have to measure everything perfectly. You can just trim it down afterwards. And right now we are recreating a card by Mindy that's just gorgeous. So thank you so much, Mindy. So now we're going to hot foil our sentiment. So the platform was ready. I put my hot foil plate down. I press the timer button. I'm going to trim down some more silver foil so that the foil kind of all coordinates on the card. The timer went solid green, so we're going to add our foil face down, and then we're going to add our piece of cardstock and our shim and spacer pad. Then we'll run that through the die cut machine, and we can take our cardstock with the foil on it off of the platform and then peel up that foil and have a beautiful silver sentiment. Then I'm going to take out the coordinating dies and I'm going to line that up, hold it in place with some low tack tape. We'll run that through the die cut machine as well, and we'll cut this beautiful silver sentiment. Now I wanted to give the sentiment some dimension to help it pop off the card, and one of my favorite ways to do that with these Scripty type word dies is to die cut some more of them just out of some plain cardstock, and we're just going to layer these together. So I added some liquid glue there with the glue tube on, and then we're going to layer a second one on top. We'll add some more liquid glue, and then we can add our foiled sentiment over top, and that's going to give us just a little bit of height without having to put tiny little foam squares on the back of your Scripty sentiments. Now here I have a standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25, and we're going to add our foiled and ink blended background to that. And then we're going to start forming a really fun scene. So I'm just going to be creating just like I would do a card normally that might have a stenciled background or a stamped background or a patterned paper background, but now we have a hot foil background. So I'm going to die cut some snowy hills here with some stitched hillside border dies, and we're just going to add a little bit of inking at the top just so it kind of coordinates with the inked background. And this is some tumble glass ink, but snow hills look always great with a nice light blue or light turquoise ink over the top. I'm going to add some tape runner to the back of each of these hills and then layer them at the bottom of our beautiful sky. Next, I'm going to take out this super cute snowball fight stamp set, and I went ahead and stamped, colored, and die cut a bunch of images from this set, and we're going to layer them onto the scene. And I always like to layer things with a mixture of tape runner and foam squares so that we get a lot of dimension. So we have our snow mouse there, then we've got this little guy throwing a snowball. We're going to add this other one that's gathering up snow to make more snowballs. We're going to add him with some foam squares. Next, we'll add a fort in front of the little guy that's throwing the snowball, and then there's going to be another little mouse that's gathering up snow for the snowballs, and of course, a pile of them as well, because they got to start their snowball fight, right? And then I'm going to add these two little characters up here on the top hill, and the little guy that's crouching. He's just my favorite. He's so cute and sweet. And then we're going to add the snowballs with some foam squares so that it looks like those characters are throwing the snowballs at each other. Then we're going to take the foiled Be Merry sentiment. I'm going to add some tape runner to the back of that, and then we're going to layer that in to the sky. And now this card is all done, and I can't tell you what a joy this was to make. Creating that foil background on the ink blended sky was so much fun, and then adding the cute little mice onto the card, oh, I just love it. Now remember the foil background that we had earlier? I thought it would be fun to create a quick card with that since we had that beautiful foil background. So we're going to be die cutting some shimmer cardstock, and we're going to die cut that with the largest stitched rectangle frame. We're also going to be die cutting the giant Merry Christmas die for some shades of that shimmer cardstock that we're going to layer together. And this is a quick and simple card. So I wanted to show that yes, we did a more complicated card earlier with the ink blending, but you can take a beautiful foil background, add a frame and a sentiment, and the card is gorgeous and done because the foil adds so much to it that it makes it just incredible. And isn't this so pretty? I just love the monochromatic look of it. Another thing that you can do with a white cardstock and foil background is you can create a really cute background for something like this adorable die-cut snowman, which I think is a really, really fun way to use these backgrounds too. So here I just wanted to show a comparison between these ideas. We have a simple card with a die-cut sentiment. We have a white cardstock with a different color foil on it with a cute little snowman over top, or we have an ink blended background with the foil over top of it. So there are so many cool and different ways to use foil backgrounds, and I am just in love with them. The next idea I want to show is taking a foiled element and incorporating it into a card. And first we're going to start off by creating our sentiment. And this we're going to do in the way we've been doing it all throughout the video. We're going to add our hot foil plate, we're going to press the timer button, we're going to wait for that green light to be solid, then we're going to layer our foil over top, face down, and then we're going to add a piece of cardstock, we're going to add our two plates, and then we're going to run that through the die cut machine, and we're going to have a beautifully foiled sentiment. Then I'm going to take out the coordinating dies and we're going to line it up with that foil. We're going to hold it in place with some low tack tape, and then we can run it through the die cut machine and we're going to have a beautifully die cut word. Now I wanted this one to have some height as well, kind of like what we did with the Be Merry. And so I die cut 3 fa la las there because I wanted it to have a lot of height, and we're going to layer these on top of each other. So I'm adding some adhesive, and then we're going to layer each of the white die cut pieces on top, and then we can add the foil one at the very top, and it's going to have some great height. Now we're going to work on hot foiling the image into our card. So I'm taking out the Snowflake Duo. It has 2 different snowflakes. I'm going to take the larger one and we're going to add that to the platform. And you see that I'm going to put it a little bit over to the right because I know that in my card design I have in my head, I kind of want the snowflake over to the right. So we're going to put that on there and we're going to trim down some foil to go along with that. Press the timer button, so we're going to let that green light flash. And then here I have a big piece of cardstock and I'm making it fairly large because I'm going to trim it down just like we did earlier to create my card base. So I'm starting with a bigger cardstock piece than what I need. I'm going to layer the foil and that cardstock piece over top. We're going to take our spacer pad and shim and we're going to put that over top, and then we're going to run that through the die cut machine. And what this is going to do is it's going to put that snowflake onto this larger piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to be able to work my design around that before I trim it down. And you'll see how that's going to work. So right here, of course, we have the foil. We're going to peel that up, and that gold is so pretty with those like little iridescent shimmers. I just love it. And then now we're going to take that fa la la sentiment. And my idea was that this cute little mouse from Merry Mice is going to be reaching for the snowflake, and he's going to be balancing on that word. So I've taken out the largest of the small stitched rectangles, and I'm going to form my scene here first and then kind of layer my rectangle over top. And once it frames the scene nicely, I can hold it in place with some tape and then run it through the die cut machine. And so this is a quick and easy way to get a perfect placement for your foiled image on your card front without having to be exact about it, because you can start with a larger piece of cardstock and then trim it down so that it's in the perfect placement. Now, next up, we are taking out the stamp set Frosties, and this was a retired stamp set that we've brought back, and this stamp set is just so cute. It has the most unique snowflakes on it, and so what I wanted to do was I wanted to heat emboss and then have the foiled snowflake. I thought it would be fun to mix and match both heat embossing and hot foiling. So I'm taking all of these snowflakes and I'm laying them onto the card in a way that I think is going to look nice, and I'm doing that in my Misty stamping tool. And then once I have them in perfect placement, I can take the door of the tool and press it down and hold all of those in place. Now I'm going to take an anti-static powder tool and prep my cardstock. We're going to ink it up with some clear embossing ink and press that stamping tool down, and now we have all of those snowflakes stamped around the hot foil. I'm going to sprinkle on some white embossing powder, and then we're going to heat it up with the heat tool. And I just love the look of the white heat embossing with the gold foil. I just think it's just so pretty. So now we can start adding adhesive to our fa la la and some foam squares to the little mouse. I'm going to add the mouse there first, touching the snowflake, and then I can add the fa la la at the bottom to be kind of like the ground that he's standing on. Then I'm going to take some gold foil metallic cardstock, and I'm just trimming a little skinny piece there. I think it's about, I don't know, a 16th of an inch or something, just a little thin piece underneath, because I thought that was a nice grounding, and I thought the foil cardstock brought the hot foiled snowflake kind of all together. I'm going to add some foam tape to the back of this whole panel, and then we're going to layer that on top of a piece of more gold metallic cardstock. Once again, bringing all of the foil idea all kind of together. We're going to layer that onto a standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25. And now this card is all done. And isn't that so cute? I just love the look of an image being incorporated into this cute stamp scene, but it has the foil on it. It's just so pretty and so much fun. Next, I thought it would be fun to kind of look at all of the different hot foil things that we've learned so far in the video. So first up, we did some hot foiling of the snowflake, and we die cut it with a circle die, and we hot foiled our sentiment and created a nice simple card. Here we took a hot foil sentiment and we incorporated it into a card we had already created that needed a sentiment on it, and that's a really fun way to incorporate hot foil. Then we used our snowflake background and we created lots of different backgrounds. We have a background for a scene, we have a background for a sentiment, and then we have an ink blended background with the foil over top for something really cool. And then last but not least, we incorporated a foiled element into the scene of a card, and that's just so cute and so much fun. And next up, Shari is going to blow you guys away. She's going to be hot foiling on acetate and creating a shaker card, and it's such a cool idea. So take it away, Shari.
So I'm making a fun snow shaker card today, and I'll be using the Build-a-Snowman die set. I've already cut out my pieces. I'm going to set this aside and I will assemble him a bit later. I'm starting out with a piece of acetate and my Snowflake Background hot foil plate. I'm making a shaker card today. I'm going to be foiling on the lawnfawn acetate because this acetate is heat resistant and the foil foiled on this beautifully. So I've got my Glimmer machine out and it is warming up. While it does that, I'm going to cut a piece of this pink hot foil to be bigger than my plate. So I'm just trimming it with my scissors, and then here I am checking to make sure it definitely goes past the edges of that hot foil plate. Now that my system tells me my platform is ready, I can put the hot foil plate onto the platform, and I'm using the grid on here as a guide. And then I can push the timer button, and this is the timer for the plate to heat up. Now that that timer light is steady and not blinking anymore, I'm ready to do my foiling. So I'm going to put my pink hot foil with the pink pretty side towards my foiling plate, then my piece of acetate that I'm foiling on, and then I am actually using a piece of typing paper between the acetate and my plate because I did get a little bit of foil on my plate, as you can see there, and then this has just helped me keep it clean. And then I can use the thin shim. So this is the sandwich required for this system to hot foil, and I'll just run this through my Spellbinders Platinum 6, and I ran it through a couple times. And then, of course, this foil sheet peels off and you have this beautiful foiling on acetate left behind. Sorry that it creates a glare with the lights on my desk because it is shiny acetate. I'm also going to hot foil my sentiment. So I have the Winter Big Scripty Words new hot foil plate. It is warming up there and getting ready. So I've prepped my piece of foil. This is kind of a yellowish iridescent color foil, and I'm using the one sentiment that says be merry. I have a piece of raspberry cardstock, and then I'll just layer up my pieces again, run that through my Platinum 6 machine, peel that off, and then I have my sentiment. And these sentiments are the same as the stamped ones, so the dies for the stamp set will cut them out perfectly as well. So I'm just going to grab the coordinating die for that Be Merry, and I'll just line it up, hold it in place with a little bit of tape, run it through my die cut machine, and then I'll have a really nice die cut foiled sentiment. Look at how pretty that is. Now I did have a couple places where my foil kind of stuck where the plate wasn't, but you can easily just buff those off with a sand eraser. Now to start to assemble my card, I have a piece of Watercolor Wishes paper. This is going to basically be the colored background behind my acetate. So I'm just cutting this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'll just adhere this to the front of a card base. I wanted something that had some color and a little bit of texture to it, but I didn't want it busy because I want you to see those beautiful foiled snowflakes in the front. Now I have a stitched rectangle frame cut from some Ballet Slipper cardstock, and I'm just putting some thin double-sided adhesive tape around all the sides. This way I can stick this to the acetate really easily and create a frame. So I'll just peel off the liner paper for all those pieces, and I'm going to put this right side down and stick this onto the back of that frame. So now I have that front piece of my shaker card created. And then to create the borders around with foam, so I have a place for my shaker bits to have room to move around, I'm using these thin foam strips. These are perfect. They fit behind this frame perfectly. And you don't have to worry about cutting any foam tape down. So I'm just using these smaller pieces that I had already cut from another project to finish off the long sides, and then I can just trim off the excess. And look how quickly that was to put a foam frame around that. Now I can start to fill my card with all the fun stuff to go inside the shaker. I have this mix of kind of white and iridescent sequins. And this is all over shaker, so I'm making sure I have this nice and full. Then I have these smaller little bubble sequins. They're kind of like rings and they're iridescent. And then I also have some iridescent seed beads, clear seed beads. So I'm keeping this in the white, clear kind of color family so that it doesn't distract too much from my beautiful snowflakes on the front. Now I can peel off the liner paper from all those thin foam strips. And then I'm just going to carefully line this up and stick this to my card base, trapping all those fun shaker bits inside. So now the shaker part of my card is done. You can see how fun it is for those pieces to move around behind those pink foil snowflakes. And now I can move on to building my snowman. So there is a piece that fits behind the face and fills in the eyes and the mouth. And I've cut that out of black. Of course, my snowman is cut from white, and I have a fake tan carrot for his nose. I'm using some guava cardstock for the earmuffs, with narwhal cardstock for the part that connects the muffs together. I've got raspberry cardstock for the scarf, which will match the sentiment. And then I'm using guava and raspberry for the mittens as well. And I've used some paper bag cardstock for the little arms, which I'll just adhere the mittens to. And then I can put these on my little snowman on each side. Now to stick him to the acetate, I am using some glue dots because I think these stick to that slick acetate a lot better than liquid glue does. So now that he's nice and stuck down in the center, I can add my sentiment at the end. So I'll just add some liquid glue because this is going to be overlapping the bottom of the snowman. And then I did add a little bit of tape runner to each end where it touches the acetate. And then here is my finished Build-A-Snowman hot foil shaker card. And I just think that that foiling on the acetate with the shaker bits behind is a whole lot of fun. And I hope you give it a try.
I just love the idea of hot foiling on acetate, and I can't wait to try it too. This is so cute, Shari. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team. And here, Mindy did a rainbow ink blended background, and then she foiled over top, and it's just gorgeous. I love how Audrey incorporated her foiled snowflakes into her background for her cute snowman. It's so sweet. This card by Anea just makes me smile, and I love the look of hot foil on that dark blue cardstock. It's just gorgeous. And then here, Maureen hot foiled over pattern paper, and isn't that such a cool look? I can't wait to try that too. Megan incorporated the snowflakes into the scene of her beautiful die cut card, and I am just in love with this card. This beautiful background by Callie is just stunning. I love the ink blending and then the die cut snowflakes over top. Here, Grace created such a cute card. I love those snowflakes in the background with the ink blending and then the cute little snow one like you critters. I love Elise's foiled background, and then she took the foiled Let It Snow, but she used die cut letters for the snow part, and I think that looks so cool. This card by Elena is so sweet. I love the gold paper with the gold foiling. It's just beautiful with that snowman. And then this is the card by Mindy that inspired us to make ours today. I just love the ink blending. Letitia used our brand new rose gold metallic cardstock, and she combined it with a foiled sentiment, and I am just in love with how this looks. And then this card by Letitia is so much fun too. I love the foiled background and the background of the giant "Oh What Fun" letters. So we cannot wait to see all of your hot foiling, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!